getting ready for the start of this 250 laps from Martinsville to determine the championship four.
Early in these runs, these guys on the outside, they know that's going to be a disadvantage on a long run, but on a short run, if there's a hole to get into, you can make it work. Watch Ty Gibbs right here. He's going to get a little run on Noah, but there's nowhere for him to go.
Right there in second and third, you got non-playoff drivers. They just want to win. They want to clock. They don't care about playoffs, who's in the playoffs, what situation they're in. 3 wide behind this group. A lot of beating and banging. Herbst gets shuffled out.
A.J. Allmendinger in the 16 on the inside.
See Ty Gibbs on the outside. He's looking right here, right there. He's got to be able to out-accelerate Noah. Noah's doing a nice job keeping him pinned up there, and Allgaier behind him's watching this, knowing he needs to get as close to that 9 car as he can to keep that 54 from filling the hole in between them.
These two stay side by side, two playoff drivers fighting for that 4th spot. Noah Gragson with the preferred line on the inside, but hanging tough on the outside is Ty Gibbs.
Ty's really close to being able to clear Noah. Noah's loose on corner exit. Ty's got him pitched off. Noah's got to put a lot of wheel to it. That hurts the corner exit. Ty's clear of him now. Get to the bottom.
Riding along, looking back to Noah Gragson on Ty Gibbs' Toyota onboard. And so Ty Gibbs now has moved up into the 4th position. So Brandon Jones leading, Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith, Ty Gibbs, and Noah Gragson all the top 5. Riding along with the Nutrient Ag Solution on board of A.J. Allmendinger.
And this camera angle just gives you a great look at that inside curb. A real challenge for these drivers. Hit it with those left side tires. It kind of moves you up at least a half a lane. It also kind of shows you rubber being put down on the racetrack already. These right side tires, we saw it in Xfinity Series practice yesterday. We heard Brandon Jones talk about it in the pre-race. As these tires wear and put the rubber down on the concrete, it will change the handling of the race car.
Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger told me this morning that this car would be better than where he qualified in 9th because practice was so good. The problem with the changes they made, the front was too bound up for him. At this racetrack, drivers, what does that mean?
Just tight, waiting on the front to turn, just like this 7. Can't get the car to turn, so AJ, with more acceleration off the corner now to the inside, his car's rotating really well in the middle of the corner right here. Justin's going to run him tight, not allow him to really open up the wheel, getting the throttle like he would like to, so AJ battles back on the inside here. Really need to throttle up, but you can't with that car on the outside, Jeff.
Yeah, this race, this opportunity to win a championship may come down between these two guys. They're separated only by a few points. They're racing early, and they know it. Allgaier, he easily could fall behind A.J. Allmendinger right now and just get behind him and make laps, but Allgaier is making a decision not to do that. He's making Allmendinger's life difficult right here.
AJ's having to be really careful not to get loose, not to slide up into the door of the 7. But the more you're hanging here on the inside, the more aggressive you're going to get. Eventually, you're coming up that racetrack. You're going to take away the line. You're going to force the 7 out of the throttle. Right now, he has a half a car length. If he could get that on entry, he can just really take what he wants, entering the corner, go up the racetrack.
And what they want to do here, Junior, is just they don't want to keep falling back out of the top 10. That's kind of their threshold. So every position here as they battle for the 6th spot matters. And as Allmendinger continues to lean on Justin, he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to get himself in a bad spot too early because that'll really upset their game plan.
He's going to get more and more aggressive up the racetrack into the side of this 7 here. And he's pushing, pushing, pushing. A little bit harder into the corner, a little bit deeper every time.
And Allgaier, every time into one, he gets loose on corner entry.
This is going to end poorly for one of them, one way or another.
Well, and that's interesting you say that, Junior, because at 36 years old, we consider Allgaier a veteran, as he looks like he's going to clear the 16. He does, but he has made some non-veteran moves trying to be aggressive or get something that he shouldn't. But in this situation, his patience paid off. He got the position.
AJ really, really careful with him right there. AJ knows he's faster. He's trying to do this the right way. AJ's trying to get by this 7 car without making too much contact here.
He's under him again. See, I personally think that Allgaier may have been better off to just get behind AJ. But Allgaier making a stance right now. I am going to fight you hard.
All right, way up the racetrack right there, and really inviting AJ back to the inside. And this has allowed Herbst to gain back on these guys.
Such a precarious position for Allgaier to be in, because Allmendinger could at any time get to the back bumper, get to that left rear quarter panel, and Allgaier could go around.
54 car moving through the field here, taking second away from Creed.
To your point, Rick, Allgaier showing a lot of trust with Allmendinger, right? A lot of trust. Hey, I'm not going to run into you. I'm going to trust you not to run into me. Allgaier picks him
there's
off.
the contact.
There it is. Up the racetrack goes the 7. We'll see if the 16 can clear him.
Justin kind of ran it pretty shallow entering turn 1 there, and AJ didn't want to give up the ground that he had. Now we're back side by side battling again.
These two don't want to give an inch. Again, fighting for that 6th spot. Allgaier and Allmendinger. Allgaier in the 7, Allmendinger in the 16. Allmendinger a little bit on the curb there. Upset the balance of the 16. He's able to still fight back and get to the inside of the 7.
Got a good run right there. He's going to clear Allmendinger now into 1.
We know this fight's going to continue. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs on NBC. Dead on Tools 250 continues. For the first time, NASCAR fans can view every lap of NASCAR Cup Series races from inside the cockpit of any car they choose. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app. Here is the race for the lead. Brandon Jones in the 19 has it. Ty Gibbs in the 54 trying to find a way around him. Will it be that outside line? No, he ducks back in behind him through 3 and 4.
Brandon will have to pick up the pace a little bit trying to get through this lap traffic. So hard to pass here. These guys are going to fight as hard as they can to stay on the lead lap.
And as a leader, it's a little bit nerve-wracking for you, right? If you run up in there and get in a wreck, you don't want to do that. But then the guys behind you start catching you and puts pressure on you, then you got to start pressing the issue.
Cautious, aggressive. Can we use those two words together for Brandon Jones?
I think that's appropriate.
Well, it does him no good to, beat up his car 30 laps into the race. I know he doesn't want to lose the lead, but leading at lap 30 is not going to advance him into the playoffs. It has to be at lap 250. So he's, kind of taking his moments when he can. And I know he would love to keep the lead, but you see what's happening in front of him, the beating and the banging.
And behind this battle, we watched the 7 of Allgaier and the 16 of Allmendinger. Well, Allgaier's driven away from Allmendinger now, so a good 10 car lengths in between them.
There you see him coming off the corner up the top of the screen as we watch this battle right here for the lead.
So much congestion around the racetrack, Parker.
Right, and as we saw, Brandon Jones has led every lap so far, but he had about a second lead over second place, but Ty Gibbs has obviously evaporated that, and much of that is because Brandon came on the radio recently and just said he was struggling to get the power down off the corner, especially underneath all these lappers. You see him having to pinch off that exit a little bit as he doesn't have a clean track. Guys, there's caution on the track.
Yeah, 07 of Joe Graff Jr. is around in turn 1. Also looks like caught up in it, the 35 of Patrick Emmerling. And Joe Graff Jr. backed that 07 into the wall pretty hard. It looks like it's shortened up.
He had a great
back
qualifying.
around, like to the left. I don't know if it'll turn right enough for you.
He had a great qualifying effort, 12th place in that 07. Battling amongst the cars that were trying to stay on the lead lap. And
they were back in 28th and 29th.
So a restart, Jeff, you've always said that those are very important as far as track position. Is this a great opportunity now for Ty Gibbs, who will start more than likely besides Jones?
Well, they'll be pushing each other. Let's go back and see what happened. Top of the screen. Wow, contact right there.
hard contact with the wall too. Right.
Oh wow, this was earlier.
Yeah. That's, oh my goodness, who is that? 68.
That's Chris Wright.
That's.
But Chris Wright got helped into the wall there.
That was as the wreck's happening. He must have saw it before anyone else starts checking up.
So Emmerling, pretty extensive damage there with the front end and the hood.
Guys, that caution is a break for Austin Hill. He had gotten himself up to 22nd. He wasn't very far away from the leader getting to him. So that's going to separate, put some cars in between he and the leader now, Marty.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a concern. They told him initially kind of take off cautiously, don't use the rears too much, but at the end of the run, they were pretty quick. Here's what's the coaching through the field for Austin Hill from his spotter.
Drive in low, straight, and hard, and then they let it roll up at about the 5/8 mark, just after where that Martinsville logo is right there. And then they turn it back down tight to the bottom, well under the rubber on exit of both ends. Yep, they're about 2 tread widths higher than that, getting to that 5/8 mark after they land on the bottom.
But to that point, Jeff, you made a moment ago, they were only 5 cars from going down a lap for Austin Hill, despite how good they were at the end of that run. I think this long run certainly has been their strength, and Andy Street still looking for that track position that he was talking about wanting earlier, Steve.
Well, a little bit of a decision here. The 9 of Noah Gregson pits from the 5th position. He's going to come down with only 25 laps to go. Remember, this is a driver that already has a win. He's advanced. So the only thing he cares about today is trying to win this race, but an interesting call by the 9, Parker.
Right, as they come down here, it was a late decision, as you mentioned. They were sort of deciding on the radio, very indecisive, and at the last second said pit, pit, pit. As you see, Noah Gregson comes through his stall here. Very lonely time on pit road. They will do 4 Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment. You see a wrench there go in the rear as well to help his drive off a little bit on the exit of the corners right here. But Noah Gregson, this 9 team, trying to pull a little strategy maybe, see if they can get another win.
Only 4 sets of tires, so we'll have to see in just a handful of laps. I bet they probably stay out at the end of the stage.
Gregson's got 8 wins already on the season. Austin Hill fighting for his playoff hopes to continue.
I feel I've got to run away.
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. And by Northern Tool and Equipment. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. Highest scored 4 playoff drivers right now. Brandon Jones out front. And with him being out front, a win automatically advances you to the next round, which would be the championship 4. Ty Gibbs currently running in the 2nd spot. Allgaier is running 5th, and Allmendinger is 6th right now on the racetrack. See where they are in points. Again, we are sure that one driver will get in. It's a guaranteed that one gets in based on points here from Martinsville.
We saw the 9 of Noah Gragson come down and take brand new tires. I think he was caught for speeding. I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. He'll line up tail end, but I assume he's going to kind of try to tiptoe these last 19 laps to try, save tire, not burn it off so he can stay out at the end of the stage. The 19 of Jones, the leader, has chosen the outside. I'm going to bet 54 is going to be really nice and let him in line here.
We'll see if that's the case. They come back up to speed. Brandon Jones seeing the green flag for the restart. Sure enough, he dives down in front of the 54. A little contact there, though. And here comes the 18 of Sammy Smith on the outside.
Joe Gibbs racing right now, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
And with that 54 letting the 19 in, it really checks up that whole inside line and gives everybody on the outside line a fighting chance. Justin Allgaier trying to fight back by the 2 here to be able to take that position away.
Yeah, Creed got sideways coming off of turn number 4 just moments ago.
We've seen this outside work.
Yeah, Allmendinger, he didn't get a great start right there, and actually Josh Berry's on the outside of him right now. Josh Berry, a former winner here. Late model stock race, Xfinity race, loves this racetrack.
Tucks in behind the 16 of Allmendinger. Landon Castle in the 10 behind them. So Riley Herbst in the 98 falls in behind the 7 of Allgaier. Now Sheldon Creed up the racetrack in the 2, almost opening the door for the 7 of Allgaier.
So hard to be able to pull up on the inside of another car, though, at this racetrack. Just not a ton of power to be able to accelerate. Once a guy makes a mistake in the corner, you really can't take advantage of it.
This 98 car, Riley Herbst, he looks like he's got really good speed. Putting a lot of pressure on the 7. See right here oh, contact.
Allmendinger coming down the racetrack. Caught the nose of the 8.
Allmendinger's struggling right now.
I'm not sure the 8 of Josh Berry's going to appreciate that contact there to the right front fender. We'll see what Josh Berry can do with 14 to go. If he can mount a charge to get by the 16. Dylan.
Well, and they're certainly off to a better start than they started this weekend, but it's interesting as you watch him bang fenders with Allmendinger. The thing he stressed to me earlier this weekend, I don't want to make anybody mad this weekend going to Phoenix and jeopardize any shot we have at a championship. He knew coming through the field there was going to be a possibility of banging fenders and rubbing tires with somebody, but being patient here is going to be key for Berry. That's something he wanted to do today, Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger is not happy with this race car right now. Listen to this radio.
Whatever you need, we'll work on it for you. Long ways.
The guy.
Man, I can tell you're frustrated.
Super frustrated. Just tell him what he needs to work on to make you better today. That's what you need. I know it's super frustrating.
That last voice is the president of Colleague Racing, Chris Rice. They're trying to get this driver's head back in the game. That pass was completed by Josh Berry. Another stage point gone for Allmendinger, but right now the car's not good, and they're trying to keep the driver in the game.
And this is a great track for AJ, one of his best ovals. Some great runs here during the Cup career that he enjoyed. As we move forward here watching this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Look at that 7 of Allgaier. He actually is intentionally using that 2nd lane. We've seen that before at this racetrack. Look at that. He's actually going to try to pass him on the outside. That is a power move. Great job by the spotter on the 18 car. Stevie Reeves letting Sammy know there's a car on the outside of him. That's just not a move you expect. You're not expecting somebody to say, outside when you're at Martinsville by a guy advancing a position. Great move by Allgaier, Dylan.
And indeed, the spotters, you talk about that, the spotter on Allgaier's car, Eddie DeHaan, said, hey, the 16 car did us a favor when we were racing him there earlier. He moved us to the outside and our lap times were better. So that's an advantage for them later in the race if they have to move around. Allgaier knows that middle groove is there and it works for that 7 car.
Really not working for anybody else. Seeing the guys behind him here trying to move up there and find out what's making that 7 work so well in the top. Creed tried to run it up there, didn't make it work. Herbst was working on it a little bit.
There's Herbst going to try it on the outside.
Stack up a little bit on that inside line. Riley Herbst trying to use the outside. Not a lot of real estate up there, almost getting pinched into the wall.
Yeah, Creed squeezed him a little bit. Herbst didn't like that. It's going to lean on him a little bit. Got to lean on him more. You want to move him up the track.
Top of your screen for the lead. Brandon Jones just in front of Ty Gibbs now. 6 laps to go in stage 1.
And they're battling down at the bottom of the screen. Creed trying to slow down this drop through the field here. Working hard on the outside of Herbst to maintain this position.
Oh, Allmendinger in the back of the 98.
Lap car here. It's going to create some issues. Creed saying, I ain't getting picked behind this 07.
Creed was sideways 3 wide as they enter the turn. That 07 on the outside is Joe Graff Jr. still back out on the racetrack.
Sam Mayer in that 1 car, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of got to the outside of the 16. Now AJ was thinking about passing for a point. Now he's risking losing a point.
And look who's behind this. The 21 car. Austin Hill, he's driven all the way up to 12th.
And Bailey Curie, an issue with that car. He tries to get to pit road. And he's going to be able to turn into the garage. It looks like some damage to the right side as bumping and banging continues under 3 laps to go.
This 2 car is struggling to make pace. And he's getting used up by these guys. Sam's gonna help him down the back straightaway, Marty.
What an incredible rally for Austin Hill. Restarted 17th, sitting in 11th right now. So Steve, Andy Street said the game for us is not on until we have track position. They're just outside the top 10. Is the game on now for Austin Hill?
Oh, he's done what he needed to do in the first 60 laps, giving themselves a chance. Battle for 7th on the bottom, battle for the lead up top. This one of Mayer is faster than both the 16 and the 21. He's just trying to find a way by. Now big contact between the 21 and the 10.
And Castle got used up right there.
That's a point for Austin Hill. That moved him into 10th.
Ty Gibbs goes to the outside, and will he do the crossover move? As they come to the stripe, it's going to be Brandon Jones. He will win stage 1. Look at this battle continuing. Creed able to nose out Allmendinger, as well as Sammy Smith in the 1. Excuse me, Sammy Mayer in the 1. Austin Hill looks like he will come home in 10th and grab one of those stage points. Brandon Jones, he needs to win the race to advance to the championship 4. He's won stage 1. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, credit card company, and by Dead On Tools, made to live out loud. At the end of each stage, 10 points are up for grabs for anyone that wins. On down to the 10th place driver will get 1 point. Let's take a look at the points that were earned in stage 1. Playoff drivers in yellow. So Hill, after starting way in the back of the field, able to work his way up and get a point.
Yeah, and Gibbs, you know, mission accomplished, came in plus 30, scored 9 points there. That's going to kind of assure any sort of trouble late might be able to still advance. I think most importantly, it's for Allgaier versus Allmendinger, right? They came in right around that bubble. Allgaier scored 8, Allmendinger 3. They came in 5 points apart, and with that 5 points gained by Allgaier, in theory now, if you're one of the crew chiefs, you think, all right, well, we're now tied. You know, we had a 5-point gap. Now it's gone away just in the playoff, or excuse me, in the stages. And you mentioned Hill. I think everybody kind of had him ruled out for stage points. He started all the way at the back. To come all the way up to finish inside the top 10 tells me not only did he score points, but perhaps this 21 is better than we expected. We're going to have to see now when he restarts up with the rest of the competitors near the front.
Tough day for Bailey Curry as he is on the back of the hook there. And this is why the damage to that car.
The right front issue, maybe a flat tire or something, some failure. Sent him hard into the wall.
Yeah, if you don't think you can hit hard at Martinsville, that's a great example how hard you can hit.
Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger was told, give me some information so I can get your car better. Driver, I need everything. They settled on the rear grip. A.J. said, if you give me better rear grip, I'll work on the front end myself. Dylan?
Dave, Justin Allgaier said he was really good on entry, tight in the middle, but needs forward drive off, but they think the car will come to him as the track rubber's in. Air pressure adjustment for the 4 Goodyear tires on the 7, Marty.
They told Ty Gibbs someone's already been nabbed for speeding. Back it down. We don't need that today. A little bit tight, late center, he said, then snaps around loose on exit. Parker?
For Brandon Jones, he just started to lose the front turn there late because he's led every single lap so far, but Ty Gibbs, his teammate, was right, hot in his heels at the end of that stage, so they're going to make an adjustment to help his front turn. We'll see who's able to get off first pit road. It looks like Brandon Jones will hold on to the lead.
Well, he's going to have the lead off pit road, but Noah Gragson stayed on the racetrack. He pitted earlier, so he'll be the race leader. It's NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs on NBC. The Dead On Tools 250. Stage 1 is complete. And you know that there is extreme pressure on all of these drivers. Listen in to the 16 of Allmendinger.
Just take a deep breath. Tell me how I can help you.
There's nothing you're going to do, dude.
Yeah, I'm still going to try, though, so give me something.
I need everything. Obviously, I mean, you guys can see it there. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
all right, dude. Copy that. We'll just work off what we're seeing here.
At some point, Rick, you're going to have to kind of rise to the occasion. And I know the 16's frustrated, but this has become a little bit of a story for A.J. Allmendinger. And, you know, how do you expect your team to make the right adjustments if you just don't give any better feedback than that?
Getting ready to start stage 2, and Noah Gregson, as we mentioned, he came to pit road a little bit earlier. He has the lead. We'll see 3 wide for second right now.
Oh, the 7 is in a bad situation now. He's stuck in the 3rd lane.
Rajah Cruz in that 44 car, he pitted the same time that Noah did.
Yeah, AJ is not going to let the 7 get back into that top lane, and I don't blame him. He knows that's who he's racing. I think the 7 now has successfully got down to the 2nd lane.
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger had the nose in there on 3 wide, and it just seemed to continue to close on him.
But he saw that 7 of Allgaier work the outside earlier, and he went with him to the outside. He could have gone to the bottom, but he chose to go to the outside.
And this might end up working out for AJ as he's trying to pass Josh Berry now on the outside. He's going to try then to get to Caruth on the outside of this corner. Maybe pinning the 8 car behind the 44. So if he continues to work that outside line, it took a while for it to come in.
Josh Berry in the 8 on the inside, fighting against the 7. Teammates at Junior Motorsports. Josh Berry locked in.
3 wide here. AJ in the middle.
Rajah Caruth up the racetrack in the 44.
Justin in the middle there. Now more 3 wide. Contact the 1 and the 16.
Mayer on the curb. It kicked him all the way into the 16 of Allmendinger. Now he goes to the outside.
Boy, I don't know if I'd go to the outside after all that. It's probably pretty hot at you. You definitely don't want to get on the outside of the 16 if he's unhappy.
Well, we know he's unhappy. I heard his radio earlier. He's unhappy even with his own car.
So watch this right here. The 1's going to force the issue on entry and say, "Nope, I'm here. I'm coming down." Not enough room for all of them.
All right, remember the cautiously aggressive? That's the aggressive side of that move. I'll have to admit, I'm going to side with AJ on here. I was a little critical on his radio communication, but right there, that's a dive bomb that I don't think AJ should expect. I think the 1 knows that the 44 is backing up. You can easily follow him through the corner. But hey, that's what short track racing's all about. The 1's thinking, I have to win this race, and here's a chance to get by the 16. But that is definitely a late move out of Sam Mayer in the 1.
And those type of things can damage the toe, damage the way this car drives. If 1 had a really, really fast car in the first stage, now struggling on the nose of this 2 of Creed. Dave.
The ironic thing, Junior, is that he said to Taylor Moyer, the crew chief, don't make too big an adjustment. I don't want to mess up a really good race car. Well, he just showed you the other way that you can mess up a really good race car. And it looks like now we might have both things working against him. After finishing 9th, coming from 22nd in stage 1, Mayer may be in a little difficulty here.
This is the part of the race situations that Sam has had trouble with. Collecting his composure, understanding there's a long way to go in this race.
Bumper to the back of the 2 there.
Well, at 19, I'm not sure I had the composure that Sam Mayer has as a race car driver at 19. Just so young, learning, and this is the series to learn it in, but it's this time of the year, Jeff, right, where now even the Ventures are losing their patience, so for a younger driver, it gets to even be a bigger challenge.
You see Ty Gibbs getting underneath Brandon Jones. They're both racing behind the 9 of Gregson.
Gibbs takes 2nd away from Jones. Jones tries to crossover. Comes back to the inside of the 54.
Yeah, Ty made the pass and then went to the throttle too soon on the exit of 2. Got at the racetrack. Brandon Jones trying to take it back.
See the acceleration, though, that the top has, easily clearing the 19 down the straightaway. Back behind them, Allgaier has got around Smith into 5th place.
And look at the 21, Austin Hill, continuing to move forward. He's running 7th now.
What a great job by Austin Hill. Come from the back up to the top 7. Great work. Marty.
And Jeff, do not count out Austin Hill, maybe even for the win today. You know, I talked to him earlier this week. I said, what's different with you about these Xfinity Series playoffs? Remember, this is his first year in the Xfinity Series overall. And he said, I've learned to not worry about what I cannot control. But today, coming from 36, he drove his way up to the top 10, already gained 3 spots. And keep this in mind, since the restart, they've moved up. And the longer run, that's where they really have the strength inside the 21 car. So Austin Hill not out of the game, running up front right now.
Struggling just a little bit, though. Herbst and the 16, AJ, just a little quicker through the middle of the corner. They keep pounding on that back bumper. Now to the inside, Herbst looks, doesn't have a position on him to pass.
And Junior, whatever they did to that 16 car, it seems to be a little better. I know he's still running only on the 9th position, but you see a big gap off his rear bumper. Traffic right in front tells me that 16 is getting a little bit better moving forward.
Yeah, he got a big run on Riley Herbst. Riley went to the bottom to block that run. And Allmendinger said, okay, I'll jump you on the outside. See if he can do it.
Chain reaction up above where the 19 got into the back of the 54 into the back of the 9. And now here comes Ty Gibbs to the inside of Gregson for the lead.
Now this will be a difficult pass for Ty on the inside. Good rotation in the corner. He pulls him a car length just like that. Good handling car and the older tires on the 9 car on the outside. Noah gives up the spot.
Brandon Jones takes advantage of Noah running that higher line, and we'll see if he stays up there. He does. So Jones will try to get by on the inside, but just can't clear him. Noah Gragson running in the 2nd spot, but up front now, Ty Gibbs here at Martinsville. Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. That allows you to follow the action with free live scoring. There's also some in-car cameras as well as a radio broadcast. All you have to do is search NASCAR in your app store to download, and you can start a free trial. Gibbs led 197 laps here in April, and now up front once again. He has led 10 since getting by Noah Gragson. The first 66 laps were led by Brandon Jones. We take a look at the Toyota driver update on the left side of your screen. Again, running first and second, Gibbs and Jones.
Already down to 22 laps to go in this stage. I mean, 60-lap stages really go by quick at this little short track.
Gibbs into the lap traffic now. He tries to negotiate through that. That allows Jones to close the gap back up. Get a few updates from pit road. We'll start with you, Marty.
Rick, to Steve's point, they're talking about on the 54 radio as well. Stage 2 moving by very quick. Going to be 20 to go when Ty Gibbs clicks off this lap right here. You know, he came into the weekend saying, hey, we're really focused on Phoenix, not so much Martinsville. Asked the team, where does that confidence come from? And they pointed to the fact that they led so many laps here in the spring, the confidence without the car would race, and he's showing that right now, Parker.
And Marty, it was just a couple laps ago that Ty Gibbs was trying to get by Noah Gragson. One of the things I love about Martinsville is no matter who you are, you're always trying to find little tweaks to your line, especially when racing others. Take a listen to Noah's team on the radio here.
He's trying to dominate 3 and 4. Good drive off. He's trying to do the same line you were doing early in the race right now. Bridges entry, tries to cut through the center, good drive off.
And if that was when he was racing Ty Gibbs, they were describing exactly what that 54 car was doing compared to Noah and trying to tweak his line just that little bit. It's those tiny little things that make huge differences here at Martinsville for Noah Gragson in the 9. Dylan?
And Parker, we talk about tiny things, tiny air pressure adjustment on the 7 car. That last pit stop has made them just a little bit too tight now to run that middle groove that he drove with to much success in stage number 1. So expect them to go back on that adjustment here at the end of this stage if they do come down pit road. The other thing they're watching too is their teammate in the 8, Josh Berry. They'd love for him to drive up there and go by Brandon Jones and take the 2nd spot. Berry's really good right now, so they're keeping an eye on him as well, Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger came into this race above the cut line and with optimism, but it's been bad ever since. We heard how down he was earlier. You saw how hard he fought for 8th right there, but he lost the position to both the 1 and the 98, and then he said this.
Man, what a way to go out.
That was it. No response from the team. They basically said on the channel that he doesn't listen to, we're not going to talk to him right now. We're just going to let him do his thing and see how we come out here. But AJ is dejected.
We haven't reached the halfway point of this race.
Oh, the 10, Landon Castle with a right front issue into turn 3 up against the wall. The caution's out.
Caution comes out, and
looks like a failure.
The right front leaning in way too much, Steve.
Wheel hop.
Oh,
Wheel hop.
talking about wheel hop.
Teammate did the same thing in practice yesterday. Wheel hopped and got in the wall.
Yeah, great point, right? The 11 was wrecked in practice.
He's broken the right front suspension, which I thought the right front suspension broke because watch this car. Straight up the racetrack. But it is sliding the rears and hopping around a little bit. But
So interesting because yesterday in practice when that problem happened, Daniel Hemrick said this has been an ongoing issue with these teams, wheel hop.
yeah.
Well, you remember, this is a teammate to A.J. Allmendinger, right? So A.J.'s very frustrated with his car. We haven't got that comment about wheel hop, but to your point, Jeff, it was the 11 of Hemrick in practice. Now the 10 of Castle in the race. We don't know if that's what A.J. is fighting, but that organization has had accidents with 2 of their cars over the course of the weekend.
And how could that happen over a course of a long run? Well, the fronts get hot and they give up. The brakes give up on the front end of the car, and the rears continue to work and perform well, and what happens is you start to hammer the brake pedal getting down the corner and the rears start to hop and lock up, literally locking up the rear tires and bouncing across the racetrack.
And you're always having, I always did throughout the run, always changing the brake bias, just continually changing it, and then when the caution comes out, put it back to where you started the run.
Well, the decision now is to pit or not pit. If you think you have to win the race, you come to right now. You absolutely pit right now. You know the caution's coming out in just a handful of laps. The 19 pitted. Here's the 1 of Sam Mayer. Dave.
First pit stall they come to, Steve, right there. It's number 41, but it's first in our hearts and first for Sam Mayer. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel to go here. Remember, their goal, win the race. They're so far down in points, Marty.
Oh, Dave, I love this call by Andy Street. Just 12 to go here in stage 2. They'll pit here, then they'll stay out at the end of the stage. You see Sam Mayer leaving his stall. He said the car would just need to take off a little bit better, Parker.
And Marty, I have to agree, this was the best call for Brandon Jones, this 19 team. They have the speed in this race car. This should set them up with the track position in that third stage. 4 tires for him, and hoping to make it turn a little better. He'll be first off pit road.
Brandon Jones wins the race off pit road. Quite a few stayed out on the racetrack. Gibbs looking to lock up a position in the championship 4. Tomorrow it's Sunday Night Football on NBC and Peacock. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to visit Josh Allen and the Bills. Coverage beginning with Football Night in America at 7 p.m. Eastern. 4 drivers up front right now are 4 playoff drivers with Gibbs, Allgaier, Noah Gragson, and A.J. Allmendinger.
So it's kind of a split decision here. No surprise in my mind that the 54 stays out, even though he was comfortable in points. Winning this stage or running in the top 2 or 3 will get him very close to mathematically locked into the championship 4. The 7 of Allgaier, he has to stay out. He needs points. A little surprised the 9 stayed out, but you know, that's their decision to stay out. The 16, once again, also needs points. Farther back, you see the 19, the 1. Some cars that came to get tires right here are going to hope they get track position in just 9 laps.
I think the 21, even though they were going to get points, they've determined they're going to have to win this race if they're going to advance.
It'll be 8 to go in stage 2.
It's a good restart here by the 7 on the outside of Ty Gibbs. He's going to fight hard to try to beat this 54 at the end of the stage.
Allgaier on the outside. He's made that high line work. Can he do it again? Gibbs gets on the curb, and Allgaier gets by him. Here comes Allmendinger in the 16.
AJ struggles. Can't get off the corner. Now he's in protect mode with the 9 right there behind him.
They're all lined up, coming up on less than 6 to go now.
And you mentioned the 21, you know, pitting and throwing points away. I think it's the opposite. I think the 21's going to actually finish higher than he was running by taking tires. He's kind of following the 8, who is rolling the top. The 8 of Josh Berry, great speed up top. Now the 21 comes to the bottom. Going to split them 3 wide right here. Here comes the 8 of Josh Berry and the 21 through the field on those new tires, Marty.
And with that pass right there, Austin Hill will get stage points. Jeff, I asked Andy Street why pit there. He thought, I think the track position at the beginning of stage 3 is more valuable than the 3 or 4 points we would have gotten. But to Steve's points, they might actually get a little bit more than that here at the end of stage 2.
They were running 7th when that caution came out. So let's see how they net out.
Scored 10th, now up to 9th for Austin Hill. And Ty
the
Gibbs.
7 up the racetrack.
Ty Gibbs able to clear the 7. Gibbs back out front now.
Yeah, Justin was way up the racetrack.
The back bumper of Gibbs. Allgaier, you look back from the Toyota onboard. Coming up on 2 laps to go.
See how this happened. Justin gets down in the corner. Loose. Wheel hop. Tries to cross over.
More bumping and banging. Austin Hill wants another spot. Is he going to try to get by that 8 of Josh Berry? How aggressive does he get? Now 1 lap to go in stage 2. He looks to the inside. Hill trying to take another spot. This is for the 6th position.
I think Josh Berry understands there's probably more on the line for the 21 than for the 8, so he has to be very careful here.
Hill up the racetrack. Contact made. Ty Gibbs wins the stage. And a drag race all the way to the line. Hill just nosed out by Josh Berry. It was 1/1000th of a second that separated the two. Points are given. Gibbs grabs 10 more. 8th stage win already for Ty Gibbs this year. The official app of NASCAR Tracks lets you stay up to date on the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. There's NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. Start using that today. So the end of stage 2, with just 1 stage remaining here at Martinsville to determine who will make it to the championship 4. With that win for Gibbs, that ensures him a spot as long as he finishes probably in the top 25, maybe even top 30.
Yeah, I mean, he's scored, like you mentioned, 19 points. He's doing a really nice job, but now he'll have to come to pit road, surface his car. Same for the 7, the 16, and the 9. Dave.
A.J. Allmendinger told his crew, I can't ask the car to do anything. Pretty much the same need. I need rear grip. He was told that we'll start with the entry to the corner. That's where the crew will go first. They said a little bit longer stop here as they adjust on the car, Dylan.
Dave, Justin Allgaier would have loved that extra point from winning stage 2. Didn't get it, have to settle for second. Still pretty happy with the race car, though. Said that it was freer taking off on that last restart than they've been all day, though. Just 4 tires and fuel. Looked like a chassis adjustment as well for Allgaier, Marty.
That stage win, Dylan, went to Ty Gibbs, 10 points closer to locking in, as the guys were saying. He said the center is better, but still too free on exit, Parker.
For Noah Gregson, he's just been too tight as the track curves up. Another big adjustment for the 9 car there in 4 tires. They have a little trouble here on the left front, a little bit of a slow stop. Ty Gibbs will win off pit road.
Gets onto pit road first, comes off pit road first. Ty Gibbs, what can he do with that? Stage is complete. Let's look at today's race recap built by Northern Tool and Equipment.
Joe Graff Jr. gets contact from behind hard into the wall early in the race. Bring out the first caution. Patrick Ehrling there.
Great battles throughout the field. Josh Berry, AJ Allmendinger going at it.
Bailey Curry into the right front with the wall there, breaking the right front suspension.
Landon Castle looks very similar. Landon had a wheel hop situation, couldn't get the car turned, made contact. Big damage to this 10 car.
Now we're getting ready to start stage 3, looking at the stage points that we've earned today. Ty Gibbs at 19. Allgaier's done a great job. Allmendinger, as frustrating as things have been, he's got 11 stage points.
And the top 12 on this restart, they all pitted the last time. They have 9 green flag laps on their tires.
Those 19 points for Ty Gibbs have secured a spot in the championship for as long as he finishes 33rd or better. As we come back to the green, Josh Berry on the inside, Sammy Smith on the outside. And Austin Hill doesn't want to give any openings to that outside line. He was trying to stay right on the back bumper of Berry.
I'm surprised that Austin didn't take the outside on the restart. His team must have not have told him how things worked out for the 7 of Allgaier to be able to beat the leader through the corner, and now he's lost that second position to Sammy Smith.
He picked the bottom and it didn't work for him. Now he's been really aggressive. He's been using that front bumper. When he gets the guys, he just kind of moves them up the racetrack a little bit in the middle of the race, in the middle of the corner right there.
As we see the playoff standings, Barry Gregson with their wins both are moving forward as we see the 6 slow on the racetrack. So a problem there for Ryan Vargas. He's going to try to get to pit road.
Here's the 21 to the inside. Sammy Smith up the racetrack is going to give him the bottom. Going to fight hard off of turn 4 down the front straightaway, side by side into 1.
Austin Hill's going to use all the racetrack. He is just not messing around today. He came in here on a mission. He is wearing that front bumper out, wearing the right side door out.
And where he's running right now, Hill 3 points out of the playoffs right now, that championship 4. That's how tight it is. Allgaier only 2 points to the good. Allmendinger 2 down. Hill 3 down right now. The possibility exists 2 can advance to the championship 4 in points. 3 wide. Allmendinger on the inside.
AJ fighting there, making that move work. You got to be aggressive at this part of the race. The final stage, trying to get to the championship 4 at Phoenix. Everything's on the table here in terms of aggression.
And remember the battle these guys had early in the race. AJ got hung up underneath the 7, and he said he burned his rear tires up, and that's why he couldn't go forward at that point. So will he be as patient this time with the 7 on the outside of him? Oh, contact.
Yeah, up the racetrack. And honestly, you know, that's racing at Martinsville right there. You've got to be able to take advantage of the guys, take what you need. I know Justin doesn't appreciate it. Justin will repay the favor if given the opportunity. But it's go time, and you really can't sit there and run side by side and let too many laps go by without the opportunity to move forward.
The tiebreaker, which, by the way, we see right now, Allgaier and Allmendinger. The tiebreaker is the best finish in this round. Both of them already have a 3rd place finish. But then Allgaier, a week ago, a 10th place finish. And Allmendinger's next finish is 22nd. So right now, that tiebreaker would go to Allgaier.
So far in these races, in this race today, the JRM cars have great long run speed. They don't take off really well. So maybe, the 7 rebounds from this over time, but right now he's struggling just to even pass the 36 on the inside.
He looks loose on entry. Looks like when he gets in a corner, see the back end roll around on it? This looks a little edgy.
Ty Gibbs continues to move up through the field after that call to stay out to score stage points. Now he's up battling the 2 car for the 6th position of Creed. Having a kind of quiet day. A decent qualifying spot, but just logging some laps, kind of learning about this track here in an Xfinity car. Here's the 54 going to try to turn underneath them. Kind of get blocked by the curb. At the bottom there, you see another battle between now the 9 and the 31.
Creed has spent the entire day, Steve, with somebody beating on that back bumper. He has not had the pace really to be on the offense. He has been on the defense all day long, and hopefully in this 3rd stage they've got the car handling a little bit better. And there you see Hemrick coming from the back of the field in the 11 car, finally having some decent pace here.
That can be exhausting, isn't it, when you're racing out your mirror the entire day? Eventually someone's going to catch that rear bumper harder than you want them to.
See the last car, that white car, Allmendinger, they have made that car better. He is now, early in this race, he was under attack. Now he's able to take the fight 2 guys. He's driven away from Allgaier behind him.
Steve, are you surprised by Gibbs and what he's been able to do as we see this fight continuing? Allmendinger to the inside of the 1, but Gibbs on a different pit strategy, working his way up here now.
Well, yeah, he's the first guy that with the fresher tires. They're only 9 laps, but he led almost 200 laps here in the spring. So not super surprised. We knew that 54 was going to be good. The 11, though, has impressed me. I didn't know with a backup car if they were going to be able to recover. They've done a nice job.
Still more rubbing as we see the 11 fall back 1 position, Dave.
Sam Mayer trying to hold off A.J. Allmendinger there. And remember, the pit report was that they were going to work on the entry first. Even you got a driver telling you there's no grip on this car and everything is wrong with it. The crew chief has to go to work a piece at a time, but they only have a couple of pit stops to work with. How tough is that?
Well, that is one of the toughest things for the Xfinity Series. I think pit strategy is a little more straightforward for the Xfinity Series crew chiefs, but pit decisions as far as adjustments, I think are more difficult. You only get usually 2 pit stops. Here we go. Now AJ is going to force his teammate into a decision. Hemrick says, I'm going to have to let you go a little bit because you're my teammate and a little bit because 3 wide was not a good decision for me. But you got to make adjustments, make them timely in the Xfinity Series. The 16 car seems so far with 105 to go to have made some good adjustments.
Yep, closing in on the final 100 laps of the race here at Martinsville. Allmendinger being aggressive on that high line now. .97 laps to go. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs on NBC. It's the Dead on Tools 250. Let's take a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory.
Well, 96 laps to go, Rick. Do you pit late in this race? They can make it on fuel, but if we get yellows, will tires be more valuable?
How aggressive will you be? We've seen so many times a driver misses the playoffs by 1 or 2 points. One pass could be the difference between having a chance to win a championship and not.
Understanding your points position, knowing where others are on the racetrack and how that matters to you in terms of being around the cut line. We got a couple drivers that would be concerns of. Having that information to understand how you race, how aggressive you can be and should be.
So, Junior, I'm sitting here watching this one car, Sam Baer, and a lot of cut drivers are watching this race right now. Look at this line that he is running. He is running intentionally in the second groove, way up the racetrack. He doesn't even try to turn down on corner exit. So that second lane is coming in today, Dave.
Jeff, he needed to find something because he was getting frustrated.
Tight, I mean it, tight. Don't tighten it back up. We didn't tighten it up at all. We were jacked by. Tight, I can't see smooth on my exit. Oh my God, just right now. I'm pissed off now. Is he freaking out? He'll start to drive and then.
He's 19 years old. He's trying to get to his first Xfinity Series championship, and now he's working like a driver who needs to find a spot on the track where his car is best. That line looks like it.
The problem that he has in front of him, Dave, is he's in a position where he's going to have to win. He's going to have to get up there and win the race, as we see the two bump the 48 out of the way. Nick Sanchez has to go up the racetrack, as Sheldon Creed said, I've had enough.
They just swapped position. You have to wonder how the first pass went down.
It looked a lot like that pass. They're kind of mirror image of one another. Yeah, they went down in a turn 1 and the 48 dive bombed the 2, and I don't think he meant to, but he sent him up the racetrack. So Creed said, well, I'm going to get back to you. So the 2's now already been set up the racetrack. So now Sheldon Creed comes down in here, and I think the 48 kind of knew it was coming. You know how you drivers like, hey man, I didn't mean to hit you that hard, and I know you're going to hit me again, so just please don't spin me out. And it was pretty obvious what was coming, and now they're back to kind of clean racing. Now we're equaled up.
We'll see. Fight continues though for the spot.
You see AJ at the top of the screen trying not to get picked by the lap car. Noah was trying to force him to lift behind the lap car, and he didn't want to. Door banging all the way down the front straightaway.
Oh, we got a car spun around in the middle of the corner, the 66 of J.J. Yaley. A little bit of contact. Well, looking at the deck lid, maybe a little more contact than I thought.
That right rear quarter panel bent in.
Oh, now it's...
What does this do?
Oh, now it's decision time, right? I mean, there's a lot of laps to go, 89 laps. If you do think tires have value.
Well, we saw when the cars that did pit at the end of the stage drove right back through the field, so tires will matter a little bit.
Yeah, and they were given an extra set. And I love that call by NASCAR. Normally you get 3 sets in your pits. Put a set on the end of stage 1, stage 2, and 1 set through the middle. Let's take a look what happened in the 66. Oh boy. Just maybe some wheel hop by looks of the tire marks.
I'd say that's a good bet. He started losing it early. He was still on the straight, which tells me he got on the brakes and immediately it started wheel hopping.
So, you know, you get normally 3 sets. They've given these guys 4 sets with the idea not to make strategy more complicated. Pit road closed this time by. But what we've seen is a car gets spun out and maybe you have a flat tire. Now you're down a set of tires to everyone else. And they just want to make sure that the championship 4 drivers were decided by who made the best pit calls and had the best car. They didn't want maybe an unfortunate spin out to make the difference. For that reason, an extra set of tires heading into the race. So you have probably 2 sets in your pits. I think you have to take them now. Junior, you and Jeff mentioned how those new tires at the end of the last stage drove right back up through, and with now over 30 laps, green flag on these tires, I believe everybody's going to have to come to pit road, but this may be the last time you come to pit road.
So now crew chiefs have to make a big decision, and especially for the 16, the 7. Those 2 right now are tied for the final spot to get into the championship 4.
You see the 19 of Brandon Jones. He worked himself up to 2nd, and he's got to win this race. This is going to be a huge pit stop for all these teams.
Decision made for Sam Mayer's team. They're going to bring him to pit road. He said this car is tight, repeating what he said on the radio earlier. And they said, okay, we're going to free you up. It'll be an air pressure adjustment and a chassis adjustment for Mayer, Dylan.
Dave, for Justin Allgaier, he said I was really tight center and really free off that run. It'll be an air pressure adjustment for him. They know they've got to get better. Maybe don't have a winning car, but right now they're trying to race the 16 and the 21, Marty.
Still 7 below the cut line, looking like it might need to be a must win for Austin Hill. He said the drive went away. The further they went, too free on exit, just can't get back to the gas. This will leave them with 1 set left. Oh, and he has a little traffic here on pit road. He has to back up in his stall, Parker. Austin Hill losing a ton of track position.
He does. It's a must-win position for Brandon Jones. They told him plan E was 4 tires for him. We'll see. He's first off of pit road.
Brandon Jones wins the race off of pit road. Josh Berry losing a spot. It's NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs on NBC. The Dead on Tools 250. Intensity picking up. tomorrow, it's the NASCAR Cup Series turn to take center stage here at Martinsville Speedway. It's an elimination race for them. Last chance to secure that spot in the championship 4. Race coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC. So a tough pit road for Austin Hill. Take a look.
So the 21, he's kind of in the middle of the box, could have stopped a little bit further back. The 44 could have definitely gone longer in his box. He does a nice job getting turned in, but that got the 21 blocked in. Then a little bit of contact right here between the 21 and his teammate in the 2. Now the 1 of Sam Mayer, you see they're going to hang the left front tire, and this is just troublesome. Oh, nice job. Reaches up, puts the lug nut on, tightens it up. Nice heads up by the jack man, not dropping the jack without that lug nut on.
Little things make a huge difference. See the 21, he could have stopped a little shorter, but watch the 44. Look, he's not in his box hardly at all. He's got the right rear on the line. So he didn't do the 21 any favors. They could have pitted that car longer, gotten in his box a little bit better as well. And obviously the displeasure from these guys.
Yeah, 28-foot boxes in depth, and just to be clear by the rules, the right rear tire can be outside the box by rules. So the 44 didn't break any rules by the way he stopped, but to Jeff's point, could have definitely been deeper. And the back of your car, Jeff, the tail of the 21 could have actually been out of his pit stall as long as the tires were in it. So for sure, the 44 didn't help him out, but if you're the 21 and you know the 44 is on the lead lap, you probably could have stopped your driver. Now listen, he probably stopped on the sign, so the pit crew could have encouraged the 21 to be a little shorter as well.
Ready for the restart. Brandon Jones in the 19, Josh Berry in the 8, making up row number 1. 81 laps to go.
I think the gloves are off now. A lot of contact coming for the rest of this race.
Brandon Jones fighting for a championship 4 spot. Josh Berry already has one. He's running second. Ty Gibbs just has to finish 33rd or better for one of those positions.
Josh Berry's giving us some spots right here. I think Josh has a really good car on the long run.
We see it time and time again. Every time junior motorsports cars bolt on tires, they slow down. So they'll try to maintain as much track position as possible for when those cars do start to take off on the long run.
The way they're running, if Brandon Jones continues on and wins this race, that would eliminate the 2 veterans, Allmendinger and Allgaier.
This is going to be a long 79 laps for Brandon Jones. He's going to have to do everything right. He has good speed. He got fast in the long run early in the race.
AJ really slow off of turn 2 there. A lot of contact. When you got guys hitting you in the back bumper, it breaks rear traction. You can't power down. It just spins the tires.
I don't know that I've ever seen as many guys into the back of the guy in front of him as I have been today. I mean, it has been every corner they've been making contact. It's a lot of fun for us. Yeah.
Fun to watch.
It's just so hard to keep your cool for this long. You know, guys running to the back of you and eventually wears thin. And then the reality of where we are with the points, and can you make enough points to advance yourself out of this round to go to Phoenix? Marty, there's a ton of pressure on everybody.
And you can feel that pressure building inside the 21 car. Austin Hill very upset with A.J. Allmendinger, a corporate teammate over at RCR Racing, because he said he feels like the 16 is brake checking him on the racetrack. They tried to calm their driver a little bit and saying, hey, listen, we're going to have to grind it out for the rest of this race, but he needs to get this win. The battle for the lead heating up, Rick.
Yeah, right on the back bumper now is Ty Gibbs for Brandon Jones. And A.J. Allmendinger is probably going to be cheering as loud as he possibly could cheer for the 54 right now.
Look at this 18 into the back bumper of the 21. Austin Hill, Sammy Smith down the front straightaway, throwing a lot of blocks. Sammy got into the back bumper of the 21. He sends it into turn 3. Battle for the lead up top, heating up.
Ty Gibbs, yep, to the inside, and Gibbs is going to clear Brandon Jones. Gibbs leading once again here at Martinsville.
21 tried to take a swipe at Sammy Smith right there. Will he try again down here in turn 3 and 4? Sammy overdrives the entry. Figures something was coming there.
wasn't able to get to the back bumper. So as Ty Gibbs leads and puts a car length, now maybe 2, between himself and second Brandon Jones, the fight for positions between Allmendinger and Allgaier, they're separated by just 2 points. Parker.
Think about the job that 19 team has done with Brandon Jones. They came in here in a must-win position. They win the pole. They put him out first here going into the 3rd stage. Jeff Bendering came on the radio and said that was probably your last stop. It's up to you. But right now, as you saw his teammate Ty Gibbs go by him, he's just struggling through the center of the corner to beat that 54 and slowly but surely losing ground that 54 right now. Going to have to muster up something inside that race car and see if they maybe can conserve the tires and be a little bit on the long run with his teammate. That might be their only hope here to run down the 54 in this must-win position for the 19.
As you see on the left side of the screen, he won in April here, but it was the 54 of Ty Gibbs who led the most laps.
This battle is heating up again. These two guys are not happy with each other. Allgaier trying to take advantage of it. Austin Hill into the back of the 18, moving him up the racetrack.
Those white gloves of Austin Hill's tell no lies, man. You can see about everything he's doing inside that car to try to get around this 18, and there's some contact from earlier, moments ago. And then they go down into turn 3 and big slam as he slides up the track right here. Watch this. Almost takes both of them around as there's contact there in the door.
Something tells me Richard Childress is smiling, loves it.
Sammy Smith up the racetrack once again in the 18. That opens the door for Hill. Here comes Noah Gragson to the inside of Riley Herbst on the top of your screen.
Sammy's doing a great job right here. Look at that. This is Sammy's first race here, Xfinity Series. So late model races here.
"65 laps to go before the championship race." The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs on NBC. The Dead on Tools 250. Gibbs still out front. He has almost a 2-second advantage right now over Brandon Jones running in the second spot. 57 laps remain, and A.J. Allmendinger and Justin Allgaier right now tied in points for the final position in the championship four, Dave.
And Rick, they're about 3 seconds apart. Allmendinger in front of Allgaier. The car is now loose, meaning he gets a very positive feel from the steering wheel and the back end. Watch, come around, there's a spin right in front of him,
yeah,
Rick.
Wreck right in front of him brings the caution out. There'll be a restart. And Steve, with 56 laps to go, do we come to pit road?
Well, it was obvious for everyone a minute ago with over 30 laps of their tires to come to pit road over the last yellow. This was a 25-lap green flag run, so I don't think it's going to be as convincing. I'm not saying some won't pit, but I don't believe the entire field will. So now the question is, who is that, right? I think Ty Gibbs has to be feeling pretty good about his day. Barry and Gregson, who have already advanced and won, they may split decision. It becomes way more difficult when you talk about the points battle, right? When you look at Allmendinger, Allgaier, and the 21 of Hill, that's where it's going to be. If I'm the 21 of Hill, I do whatever the 16 and the 7 do not do. Because right now, I'm not sure I can gain enough points, right? I'm still 17 points below, running okay in the 10th position. So if I'm the 21 and the 7 and the 16 stay out, I'm going to come get tires and be the first guy. If they pit, I'm going to stay out and just hope I get a bunch of short runs to the finish and I can make these old tires work.
And again, the reason for the caution, we saw Howie DiSavino. He was around, as well as Chris Wright in the 68.
You know, it looks like the 45 just gets in deeper than he wants. I think he was going to perhaps spin out even if he doesn't catch the 68. He does catch the 68, sending them both around.
Yeah, that's the same way I saw it, Steve. You know, back to the pit strategy. Austin Hill, he was falling back. His car was not as good as he needed it to be. I feel like they need to make a change in their car. They need some speed back in that car. A lot of guys have gotten by him. He's fighting hard, but right now he just didn't have the car to fight and get with.
And he's thinking it's a must-win. So to your point, it might be a pit stop regardless for the 21. I think if you're the 54, you might have to stay on the racetrack. I'm not sure if you could give up track position. He does. The 19 does as well. But somebody's going to start this pit. Here you go. The 16 says he's coming. Split decision. The 7 stays out. So it's going to be a split decision for the drivers on the cut line, Dave.
Steve, Allmendinger's team has a fresh set of good years for him. He needs to be tightened up a little bit. He was told by the team, hey, every time you're free, you go forward. But AJ says, I need a little more security. Marty.
Yeah, Austin Hill certainly thinking this is going to be a must-win situation for these guys, and this will be the last set of Goodyear sticker tires for Austin Hill and Richard Childress Racing, trying to make the championship four. He said, I'm not sure what that last adjustment was, but I was way too free on entry and then spinning the tires almost all the way to the wall on exit. So a big adjustment here, trying to tighten up this 21 and make it more competitive.
Now the question is, who made the right call? Was it Jason Burdett and the 17 or Bruce Schlicker and the 16? Next Saturday at Phoenix, the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship will be decided. That race coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern on USA. Make sure to join us to find out who the champion of the Xfinity Series will be. So split decision. First of all, you have Gibbs and Jones out there battling for the race lead with 50 laps to go. And then the split decision is Allgaier stays on the track and Allmendinger comes to pit road. So that is the big question. Which one was the right decision, Dave?
Rick, that changed the dynamics of the point structure at the cut line. It was tied, basically. Now they're about 10 points apart as they run. But Allmendinger has the fresher tires, and after a day that has been nothing but chaotic, they finally heard from their driver in a positive way that they needed to make a change, and so they brought him to pit road, gave him the advantage they thought they could give him. Dylan?
And Dave, at the end of stage 2, Jason Burdett, the crew chief for Justin Allgaier, said, we're going to fight through a lot of circumstances over these next 130 laps. Let's go do it. So they hated to see that caution because the middle lane was just finally starting to come back in for this 7 car. But Justin's tired of riding around. Here's his mantra going forward.
I just got to start using the bumper, man. I'm tired of getting jacked around.
It's go time for the 7 team.
Well, Junior Motorsports looking to put 3 cars into the playoffs if Allgaier can make that move.
And just remember, if Brandon Jones wins, it basically puts him and Gibbs in, and that eliminates the whole conversation of Allgaier and Allmendinger. So you look at Allmendinger minus 11, Allgaier plus 11. On the left side, you see last pit. If we expand it all the way down, you're going to see basically the 15, the 16, the 21 first cars on newer tires right around the 15th position. 50 laps is enough time if it goes green, but these races never seem to go green in the last 50, this short track action.
Well, especially when you hear the driver of the 7 say, I'm going to start using the bumper.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end up with a good result using a bumper.
48 laps remaining from here at Martinsville. Green flag back in the air.
Sammy Smith going for 3 wide down there in 1. That rarely works. It's going to make it happen, though. Herbst gives him the room.
And so does the 1 of Sam Mayer. He's able to stay off the wall. Noah Gragson trying to stay on the outside there of the 19.
Noah fighting on this outside, making it work. Got a wreck.
Caution. And this time it's the 39 of Sieg.
So Sieg spins.
How bad the front is right here.
Allmendinger got all the way up to 15th right there.
A lot of damage to the 39 of Ryan Sieg. Sieg was a part of the playoffs, was eliminated after the round of 12. Mentioned that Kevin Cowboy Starlin will retire from crew chiefing. That's his crew chief at the end of this season. Around he goes. Looks like he may have gotten a little help from Hemrick.
Well, I think it was a 3 wide, though. I think Hemrick was getting help from the 44. I think the 44 dive bombed both of them. Got Hemrick in the left rear. You're going to see as they come in the picture. See the 44 is passing the 11. I think it was a 3 wide situation that forced the 11 up into the 39. I say that because after the caution, here you go at the top of the screen. Take a look at this right here. You're going to see contact, I believe, from the 44 into the bumper of the left rear of the 11. That sends the 39 up. Because after this accident, I saw the 39 go up, and it appeared had a conversation. You know, that driver-to-driver conversation.
Yeah. Normally the hands are involved.
Yeah, there were some hands waving, it looked like, from the 11 to the 44.
Still seeing a lot of sparks coming out from the right side. A lot of damage to Ryan Sieg's right front.
And this is, I think, what A.J. Allmendinger doesn't really want. I think he would rather have it run green because would let the fresher tires work. Why you think maybe after 20 laps he wanted to have the field bunched back up again, but right now he had restarted, what, I think 15th or 16th. He's currently 15th, so you know, he's just riding around under yellow is not helping his tires be better than the 7s, which is his goal, and the 7s tires of Justin Allgaier, every chance they have it to cool, they're going to come back to life a little bit.
Yeah, and Allgaier picked up a spot on the restart. He restarted 6th, and he got himself to 5th. Allmendinger had just gotten what he needed. I was watching him in the field, had gotten single file, and he was on the outside. And with new tires, that's what you want. You want to see everybody get single file because you can jump up on the outside and just fly by him on corner entry. But the caution came out. So to your point, Steve, although we would think a caution would be good for him, it came at the wrong time.
Pit road is open. It doesn't look like there's going to be any takers up front. Gregson Berry, they're in the Champ 4. Gibbs trying to win his way in, although he's got enough points, he can get in that way. Allgaier and Allmendinger, that battle continues. With 5 cars out of the race, the worst that the 54 can finish is 33rd. That's all he needs. He will advance to the championship 4 on points, but he's looking for a win here at Martinsville. He's on the inside, Gregson on the outside. They stay 2 wide behind him all the way through 3 and 4. Gregson fighting for that spot. Brandon Jones knows he has to win his way into the championship 4.
I think if he gets another opportunity at the restart, he's going to have to consider seriously maybe starting on the front row and trying to take advantage of it. Banging back here between the 1, the 18, the 7, the 8.
Oh, a wreck off too.
Oh, yeah, the 21's around.
Big contact.
Almost around.
Yeah,
cautioned out.
Big contact with the 21 of Austin Hill. You see the left front down on the 51, so Jeremy Clements will have to come to pit road. We will have another restart there. You see the damage to the left front of Hill.
Yeah, he's got a little tire rub there, fender rub.
Right in front of that, Allmendinger, he's worked himself up to 12th. So keeps closing that gap to Allgaier.
Allmendinger has to finish 2 spots in front of Allgaier. And if that's the case, there's going to be a tiebreaker.
Allgaier lost a few spots right there in that battle. The 18, the 1, Josh Berry, all those guys were getting really aggressive. It cost him a few positions. And as Allmendinger closes up the gap, climbing through the field, it's a real possibility that he points his way in. Let's see what happened to 21 here off turn 2, top of the screen. Looks like the 51 gets loose underneath.
Yeah, Clements was loose underneath him and then just contact continued all the way down the back straightaway. Parsons in that 78 car.
For the 3rd week in a row,
Yeah.
Stephen Parsons is in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Tell you what, though, he's run well in that car. He restarted about 14th with that car, so he's done a nice job again this week.
I think the 21 was forced to come to pit road. Too much damage on that left front, plus smoke. I think they had to come at least clearance the left front tire. Marty.
Yeah, Steve, there was a long debate, but they do have to come down pit road to clearance the left front tire. That's the biggest issue. They have saws out in case they need to cut away some body work here, but and they're going to go immediately to that, cut it around the top of the left front tire here. They did glue up the tires they took off a little while ago, so they can put a new left front on, but they're going to check and see how much damage is done here for Austin Hill. This team has been swinging all day long, trying to make their way in the championship 4, but obviously it's been a tough day for the 21 group.
Hill coming off of pit road. Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson, 1 and 2 right now. It'll be 32 laps to go, and right now the 7 and the 16 are separated by 5 points. If they do end up in a tie, you go back to the finishes in this round, and right now the best finishes, they both have a 3rd. Well, the next best finish for Allgaier is a 10th, 22nd for Allmendinger, but you have to count this race in as well. So if Allmendinger finishes inside the top 10 and they're tied in points, he would then get that tiebreaker finish. So that's what's on the line right now for those 2 drivers. And that's once again if Ty Gibbs or Noah Gregson wins this race. But Brandon Jones could jump up there and win the race as well.
Allmendinger 3 wide.
Aggressively trying to grab every point he can. Allmendinger on the move.
And now he can see that 7-mile guy right behind him.
Josh Berry loose on the outside groove there. It's going to cut down in front of the 16. AJ trying to get around the 98. We got a big crash off turn 4. Track is blocked.
Yeah, pile up in turn 4 right
parking
now.
lot here.
Nobody can get by. Myatt Snyder in the 31 headed the wrong direction. Got Raja Caruth in there as well. Howie DiSavino in the 45.
Whole field stopped over in turn 3 while we get everybody out of the way here and clean this up.
Yeah, that was Patrick Emmerling that was stopped and can't continue. So the wrecker's going to back up to them, the AMR safety crew to them.
We hear people say all the time the track was blocked. Well, I'm going to tell you that time
It was blocked.
blocked.
Yeah, a little more damage. Looks like a little more damage to the 21 there as he might have been trying to squeeze through some of that. They're going to pull on the quarter panel back here.
This team has fought so hard today. Marty.
Yeah, you just feel for them. They've come back so many times, Jeff, put themselves in a possible position to make the championship 4. Now the damage is on the right rear, so they're finally going to put this set of scuff tires on for Austin Hill, who that's the penalty, Steve, right? You get back there in traffic, and this is often what can happen.
Yeah, they recovered You know, they had that issue of qualifying and did an amazing job getting back into the top 10, but then it's kind of been a little bit of quicksand here in the second half of the race for the 21.
Let's take a look at what happened in turn 4.
Oh, 31 gets turned around. 21 just kind of just gets a little beating and banging as he worked his way through, but I thought the 31 was the first car around sideways.
Steve, not a big deal, but the 21 came to pit road when it was closed, so he's going to have to restart.
Yeah,
back.
big tail end either way.
All right, Dave, the 16 of Allmendinger. He's been fighting. What do they have left?
Well, Bruce Schlicker told me this morning he thought he had a car that could do the job today. I guess the question is twofold. You have the driver's head in the game, and is the car good enough?
I think the driver's head is back in the game, yes, and that 25-lap tire advantage will hopefully play to our favor here.
What about his day today in terms of finding that? Did he find his groove? Did you guys get those adjustments right where you needed them?
Yeah, the adjustments all day have worked for us, and you know, it didn't start off too good. Had to calm him down there for a minute, but I think the car's coming to us, the driver's coming to us, and hopefully these tires pay off.
Is he making you nervous?
Absolutely.
He told me this morning too, Dylan, he's ready to go to Phoenix. Bruce Schlicker is. He'd like to win a championship with Allmendinger.
Well, and the guy that they're battling is Jason Burdett and Justin Allgaier on this 7 car, so the gap is at +4 right now in your favor. So how are you feeling here with just a handful of laps left?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really picture it going yellow, 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 you know, but, you know, the 16 pitted there with 55 or so to go, so he's got a little bit fresher tires than we do. But I think if we can ever get going and get running and get some laps on the tires, I think we'll be okay. You know, at this point, we just got to stay in front of him and hope for the best.
That second lane working well for you guys, how much of an advantage has that been today, and how much do you hope it helps you here in these closing laps?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes into play more when they get a bunch of rubber down. You know, riding around here under yellow, they pick all that rubber up. You know, and it probably takes 20 or 25 laps to get some rubber laid back down. So we'll see how it all plays out here at the end. You know, it's going to be a fight right down to the last lap, I'm sure.
All right, we got 28, 27 to go right now, guys. So if it goes green from here, keep an eye on the 7 car.
And interesting enough, the 7's teammate, the 8 of Josh Berry, came to pit road under this caution right here. I'm not sure why. He was running inside the top 5. Can't believe they think they just want to have fresh tires.
Must have felt like he had an issue with the tire there. There's a lot of contact right before this caution come out. See a little damage to the right front splitter there.
And guys, they kind of just wanted to get out of this mess. They felt like they were in a little bit of a danger zone area there, and Josh wasn't very happy with the car, frankly. So I think this was maybe just to save some damage on the race car.
Wow. Still 24 cars on the lead lap. So they clean up turn 4, getting ready for the restart, and it's going to be less than 26 laps. What a day it has been already for the Xfinity Series, but how about tomorrow and the Cup Series? Countdown to green at 1:30. Then Cup Series playoffs. This is the final elimination race before the Championship 4 in Phoenix. That race coverage starting at 2 o'clock, and of course NASCAR America Post Race Show, as always after the race, will be on Peacock.
So how about this battle all day, guys? We now, look, it's only a 3-point difference between this 7 car and this 16 car. Allmendinger sitting there with much newer tires, and he is going to start only 1 car behind. So it is going to be a battle. What can Allgaier do, Junior? What is it that he can do to try to keep this 16 behind him?
You know, the strength of this car has been on the long run, and these restarts have been great for AJ, allowing him to be aggressive with those new tires. He's going to do anything and everything possible on restarts. You would, you know, if you're 7 car, you certainly want to see this thing go green, but we're not going to get green flags. We're going to get a lot of cautions here. That's going to be very physical. I expect more yellow flags, Parker.
Right, Dale Jr., and guess what? One driver who can make all of that moot is that 19 of Brandon Jones, who sits in third right here. He was just recently told on the radio, those two drivers in front of you have both advanced. They're locked in. Do whatever you have to get to the lead. So we'll see how aggressive Brandon Jones might be on this restart to try and get back to that lead here and make it a moot point between the 7 and 16.
And don't forget about Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer is in fourth. He could win this race, and he would advance to Phoenix. So the second row is full of drivers that need to win, and if they do, they can advance.
Jones follows Gibbs down to the bottom. So we will see if Gregson can fight him for the lead. And then you have Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones both with a win, and you advance to the championship 4.
So the front 3 rows, the entire inside line is Gibbs, 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 and the outside is Junior Motorsports, Junior Motorsports, Junior Motorsports. So the front 6 positions taken by 2 organizations, and the second row of both organizations needs a win. So there's a lot going on this restart.
And the 16 of Allmendinger, he picked the outside right behind Allgaier.
23 to go from Martinsville to decide the championship 4. Only one spot remains to be determined. Will it be a driver that wins his way in, or the one who points his way in?
So Brandon Jones got a good momentum right here. He needs to drive into turn 1 and use all of the racetrack. That's what he did. He got up the racetrack, moved Noah out of the line. Now he's got that spot.
Noah's going to try to get down in front of Sammy. Sammy gives him the back bumper. Slows everybody down. A lot of contact back through the field.
Hey, look at this. Look at the 16 underneath the 7. Allgaier blocking him.
Oh, and the bumper goes to the 7. Up the racetrack he goes. Allmendinger's going to get to his inside. Big contact.
Allmendinger was getting some contact as well from the 26.
Remember this battle from early in the race. The 7 of Allgaier, he was able to hang on this outside. Allmendinger gave him plenty of room then. I don't think he's going to give him that same room now.
Contact right there. AJ's going to take the spot.
Clear.
Allgaier better drive in the corner deep right here. Do not let that 7 get to you. He gets to you, pushes him out of the
Roll
way.
it to you hard. Push it, push it. Still pushing out
Right
line
into
inside.
the back of him. And now more contact. Allmendinger on the outside. Allgaier aggressively on the inside.
AJ's going to try to cross him over as well. The contact's coming again down here in turn 3 from the 16 car.
If he can get there.
He doesn't get there, not quite on the entry, but now here he is.
He's there now. What will he do in 1? He got to the back bumper. Up the racetrack, the 7 goes.
This is where the 7 has been so strong, though, on the outside on exit speed. Oh!
In the corner, in.
More contact.
AJ up the track.
Good turn by Allmendinger. He clears the 7, but what will the 7 do? He puts the bumper to him again and again. More contact. They're sideways.
Still inside.
AJ's got an issue.
Clear,
Left
clear.
rear tire.
Tire is
Still
flat.
inside. Split you.
AJ Allmendinger after
Side,
all
flat
of the
left rear,
contact.
flat left rear.
AJ
Caution comes out. As frustrated as AJ Allmendinger was
I tried.
at the beginning of this race, I can't imagine after racing that hard with Allgaier how disappointed he will
Left
be.
side, left side.
So much
Left rear,
contact.
left rear. Pick it up,
Eventually
guys.
the
Pick it
tire
up,
gets
pick it up.
cut. But guys, ahead of that, Brandon Jones got by Noah Gregson. Now Brandon Jones will be able to start on the outside or the inside, whichever his teammate picks. He'll be able to pick the opposite. So Brandon Jones is in the best position he's been late in this race to have a shot to win this thing.
And what will Brandon Jones do to try to win the race? Will he move his teammate out of the way like we just saw between the 16 and the 7?
And we're looking at some of the contact between these guys, and it happened corner after corner after corner. Right there, AJ up the track. This is just short track racing. You know, the 7 forces it in there. AJ is down the track a little bit, more contact.
Yeah, those 2 hits right there were to that left rear, which ended up going down.
And this is the final right here. The 7 pushes him off into the corner, up the racetrack. AJ turns to come back down, contact right there, cuts the left rear tire.
You see the donut on the right side of the 7 was right over that right side tailpipe. That must have been what got it.
Just guys just going at it. I mean, one moved the other out of the way, then they returned it. Just right here, boom. I agree, probably right on that exhaust pipe. Cuts the left rear tire.
And think about the big picture here for AJ Allmendinger. He's going Cup racing next year. We ride along with AJ.
Still there, still there.
AJ's watching like, all right, here it comes.
Quarterback.
I know it's coming.
Coming hard, gonna be coming hard. Push it.
Bam, wow.
Push it. Inside, inside, inside. Still inside. Clear, clear. Still inside. Split you, split you, split you.
AJ Allmendinger stayed in the Xfinity Series when he could have went Cup racing a year ago, but wanted to win a championship. Well, this right here may have been his last opportunity.
Well, I tell you one thing, you can't say he didn't try. He put every bit of effort into it.
I don't see how the air stayed in the 7's tires either. I mean, with all the contact between them, well, corner after corner.
We still have to find 12 laps worth of air in those tires. We'll see if it can hold up. Not to mention another restart, because they've been just so calm, Rick.
Not to mention hoping that Brandon Jones that win this race, because that knocks him out, Parker.
Yes.
Right, Jeff, and let's ask his crew chief, Jeff Bennering, what's going through your mind? I heard you tell him, do whatever it takes. What does that mean now, start beside your teammate?
We need to win the race, so whatever it takes. I'm proud of my team, proud of Brandon, proud of everybody on this group. We had a really bad homestead last week. We didn't expect to run that bad, but everybody kept their heads down, and we're in it to win this thing.
Any discussion of working your teammate here on this restart? Any discussion of you guys working with your teammate on this restart a little bit?
It's too late in the race to do that, so no.
We'll see, Marty.
Parker, to that question, Ty Gibbs asked the question you asked. They have played together all day long. Ty Gibbs letting Brandon Jones in, and Brandon Jones returning the favor. Ty wanted to know, with 10 to go, is that still the plan? Listen on the radio.
Teammate restart here. I think it's too late to do it. So we just gotta race it now.
Every man for himself. This is going to be a fun final few laps, Rick.
I can't believe you even asked that question.
Yeah. So now the question is, drivers, if you're the 54, top or bottom? I assume you're taking the bottom. You definitely don't want to let the 19 to your left side going into turn 1.
Well, that's what I think. I think, it appears that he's going to give him the outside. Oh, Brandon Jones went with him. Did not take the outside line.
I think we both wanted him to take the top. I think that was his best shot.
I will say we're going to find out what Brandon Jones is thinking, because if he's willing to do everything, then the 54 and the 9 might both have a surprise getting into turn 1. It wouldn't be the first 2-for-1 shot we have seen here at Martinsville.
That has to be the play. I mean, you have a shot to start on the outside of your teammate with 10 to go. You don't take it, so he's got to have something else in his mind.
Was it Clint Boyer that did it to Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson?
At least
here?
a couple of them, yes.
Well, there's a long list, Rick.
He dive bombed the 2 of them into turn 1 on a restart. What's going to happen here? It will be 9 laps to go in Martinsville. The bumper already put to the 54. The 19 on the inside.
He's there.
The 9 almost spinning. He's able to keep it straight.
Sammy Smith almost into the back of Brandon Jones.
Still outside.
Brandon Jones off of turn 4, side by side.
Driving in a corner deep. Take that spot.
He gives him a little bumper up the track. What a classic short track move. We got a spin.
Spin in turns 1 and 2. The caution comes out. The 19 was in front.
What a move. I loved what I saw there. Brandon Jones gave him a little tap off into turn 1 and upset the back of the 54 enough to get him up the racetrack and out of the throttle.
And I want to add, with all this conversation about teammates in the playoffs, you know what I love? 2 teammates that could care less that they were teammates. They were both racing to win this race, it was exciting to move. But to your point, Dale, that move by the 19, that's like some old school. Just a little
what we gotta do,
contact in the exact right spot. You see the crew chief cheering him on.
I mean, instead of just going down in there and popping him in the back bumper or dooring him in the side, that move, that little subtle bump off throttle into turn 1 under braking, set that pass up perfectly. Let's take a look at it.
So Brandon Jones, right there into the back of his teammate, gets him up the racetrack. That runs Noah up the racetrack, and then Brandon on the throttle, contact with the 9 and the 54. Just nice work by Brandon. He had a plan. You and I were like, pick the outside, but he had a plan, and he executed on it.
Look at that tap right there. Little bitty tap right in the left rear quarter panel. Sends the 54 up the track to be able to complete the pass. Big issues for the 11 there with some damage. Here you see how the crash, or the spin, the back of the pack happened. Hemrick had a lot of nose damage because of what happened on the back straightaway with Noah. May have some issues with that car going forward.
And with this car being picked up off the racetrack, laps are clicking by. And Brandon Jones now, it's just getting to the point where he just has to have a clean restart. The more laps go by here, it turns into Brandon Jones getting a great launch, getting into turn 1, using all the racetrack that you need. Don't give anybody an inch.
And if Brandon Jones ends up winning the race, that means Allgaier is out.
Well, and so just because anything can happen, it's worth mentioning that A.J. Allmendinger gets the free pass. I only say that because getting him on the lead lap in this chaos, if Jones doesn't win and Allgaier's backwards on the next restart, then Allmendinger can be right back into this battle. So this is Allmendinger on board with the driver of the 16 as he passes the pace car. And, I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest finish we've ever seen here at Martinsville.
It would be right up there.
But it would definitely be in the top 5. So now that he's back on the lead lap, that even gives him the opportunity to gain the points. But I think it's really all in the hands of the driver behind the 19, going to victory lane, the walk-off win to advance to the championship 4.
And we talked about all the playoff drivers. Just want to give a shout out to Sammy Smith there in 3rd place. All of this going on around him, and he has been in the top 5 all day long. With everything else happening, all the contact, all the issues, this guy's done a great job today just kind of being in the mix.
Also, Nick Sanchez, 22 ARCA champ, he's sitting there running 9th. Good day for him as well.
Think about
Josh Berry, that pit stop earlier, remember?
Yes.
Josh Berry pitted a little bit ago. He's worked himself up to 10th. If you get a series of cautions here, which wouldn't be unknown here. I mean, that's happened multiple times. Could he come back and make something happen?
Think of what Brandon Jones has been able to do this weekend. Won the pole, now is up front, has to win this race if he wants to advance. Marty.
Ty Gibbs did not say a word about the contact from Brandon Jones, but he did have a word about what's going to happen on the next restart. Listen.
For sure, going to take the bottom here. Yep, that's on you. You have to make that call. Agree with you.
And that's all he said. I think he's thinking maybe a little revenge, and I think it's important to note, Rick, Ty Gibbs and Brandon Jones will not be teammates next year. I don't think teammates right now is in either one's vocabulary.
Brandon Jones will be racing for Junior Motorsports in 2023.
And remember Ty Gibbs and John Hunter Nemechek racing at Richmond for the battle. Ty Gibbs wasn't too concerned about his teammate that day. So what do you do here, Steve, if you're the crew chief? Where do you tell your guy to pick if you're Brandon Jones?
Oh, I think if you're the 19, you absolutely must take the bottom. If the 54 decides to, push you in the rear bumper up the racetrack, that's one thing. But if you give him your left side door and then he pushes you up the racetrack, I think you gave him too much of an opportunity. I think right now it's all about the launch for the 19. Get a good enough launch that the 54 just can't get all the way to you.
Sammy Smith, you mentioned it, Junior. He's sitting there in position to win an Xfinity race. That is huge for a young race car driver.
Already 248 laps complete. That means this will be overtime.
I still think you better watch Josh Berry sitting there in 8th. He's got much better tires than everybody else.
3 to go. It'll be 2 when they get to the line. Overtime presented by Credit One Bank.
Great launch by the 18 on the outside, Sammy Smith. The contact from behind.
There was a little bumper, another hit to the inside for the 19. Now the 19 is getting hit on both sides.
3 wide to Gibbs, boys.
They're sliding. Sammy Smith slides out of the way. Here comes the 9 of Noah Gragson. The caution comes out before they get to the line. We'll try another restart.
All that contact cut the left rear tire on this 18 car to send the car around. And the Gibbs guys came to do battle today.
3 wide does not work here.
And Brandon Jones, who thought he was in position to win this race now, sitting outside the top 3 possibly.
Well, Steve, you mentioned it. Allmendinger could still be in this thing. We have no idea. We're going to try overtime again. Bumping and banging. They're aggressive. Who's going to win Martinsville? Stay with us. NASCAR has just said at the time of the caution, they go back to who was leading at that loop, and they're telling us right now it's Brandon Jones.
So remember, it's not going to be off cameras. It is the last loop line crossed under green flag conditions. So here's the loop lines. They're all around the place, right? So it's the blue lines are the ones we care about. So let's just make sure everybody understands. The red lines are pit lines. This is the blue line, this is the blue line, and this is the blue line. I show you that because there's basically 3 of them down in turns 3 and 4. So now if we take a look at the accident again, down here at this end of the racetrack, we got the 19, the 18 beating and banging. This is leaving turn 2. Now we're going to go down the back stretch. Remember, there's a loop line heading in. So I would say right here, the 19's for sure in front of the 54. There's more contact right here, and then the 18 goes around. So the question is, you know, when the yellow came out, they go back to the last loop line. This is automatic. This isn't a judgment by NASCAR. A program does it. So somewhere either in the middle of 3 and 4 or the entrance of 3 was the loop it went back to. But so it either this one or this one.
L6?
I believe they're saying it's L6. So at this point, and right in the middle of 3 and 4 was the last loop passed under green. And that point of the racetrack, the 19 was in front of the 54. Now the 19 is the leader. So now let's remember that. The middle of 3 and 4. So now let's take a look. Middle of 3 and 4. So now we're going to go down in this corner. There's going to be contact. The 18's going to go around. The last loop past under green is in the middle of this corner. So if you say about right there's the middle of the corner, the 19 reaches the loop line first. It doesn't matter time of yellow, this, that. The computer tells you the last loop you passed under green. That's where you're scored. That puts the 19 a leader. A good break by the 19. So the question now, back to Jeff Burton. We had a conversation about where you should start. Now, what do you do different if you're the 19 of Brandon Jones?
Yeah, listen, I think you have to go. I think you got to pick the outside. I think we've seen all day long, there's so much momentum on the outside. I know in the 90s, you would have never picked the outside on a short track, but this is modern day racing, and they launch so much better on the outside. Brandon Jones, though, he's got to get a better launch than he did the last restart. He's got to, when he gets to the start-finish line, he's got to have a clear advantage entering the corner.
All right, so you didn't like the restart. I think we could take another look at it. Junior, you said the same thing, right? You have to accelerate better. So the 19's a control car. So by rules, he gets to launch first anywhere in the restart. Guys, break down what he could have done different or should have done better.
He just doesn't go. You know, when he gets into throttle, he allows the 18 to be ahead of him at the flag stand, so that really shallows up his entry into turn 1. He cannot go in there as hard as he likes. That allows the 54 to get to the back bumper and turn underneath him. If he can shoot forward, get a better launch, have a little bit of a car, either half a car length or a car length lead into 1, he can use a lot more racetrack and have a lot more freedom down there.
When the 19 car of Sammy Smith started to accelerate, Brandon needed to stop. He needed to just brake check, stop, let the 19s go. He would have had to stop. The minute you see him slowing down, then you go. All that's happening in the Geico restart zone, all that's legal. So if you ever early in that zone and you see that guy on the outside start going, you stop. You just literally stop. He has to, and at that point, that's when you accelerate. He let Sammy Smith control the restart. You got to control the restart.
And that was just a great guess by Sammy Smith, right?
It was.
To start when he did.
Yeah, Sammy's done a lot of short track racing this year. He's going to be ready for those restarts. Another thing you can do is if you've got that 54 behind you, you wait for him to pop you in the bumper. A lot of times, if you're just sitting there riding, wait on that guy behind you to hit you in the bumper and go as soon as you feel that. He springs off of you. That's going to create almost a half a car length initially right on that moment. And your acceleration should gain you another half a car length by turn 1. So a lot of times you'll go off the bump from the car behind you to take off on that restart.
And I also can say, I don't know if there is a good line to pick right here if you're Brandon Jones. Look who's behind him. Ty Gibbs, a teammate. It doesn't matter. We've seen Ty Gibbs doesn't care about who his teammate is. Riley Herbst, he's hungry. Noah Gregson, he's hungry. Creed is extremely hungry. Barry with better tires. So although a guy's in the 3rd row, he's in the bumper of the guy behind you. Now that guy is in the bumper of you. I mean, you can get wrecked from 3 rows back. So what is the line that Brandon wants to pick? It's almost an impossible choice.
So, and now let's just review right here. So if you're looking at the points and you get a little confused by the dashes, Jones is leading, 3 have advanced. So the only way we're gonna have a 4th guy in is points or a win. With Jones leading, he's in. The only way Allgaier or Allmendinger can beat him is to pass him for the win. Now, if the 19 falls out of the lead, then it's a points battle between Allgaier and Allmendinger. Dylan.
And just to that point, Steve, when Brandon Jones was moved back to 3rd, Allgaier was in by 14. So that's how much the difference is by Brandon Jones being up front. Remember what Justin said a few laps ago. I'm tired of jacking around. It's time to use the bumper. So let's see what he's got here. He's got to move forward from 7th here.
You guys laid down all the choices that the 19 has. He's now on the bottom. Now it's all about the restart. And for the fans that are frustrated by the loop lines, I will add the short track races around the world, Dale Jr., I know it's happened to you. The only loop used at short tracks is the start-finish line. Yeah. We've had it all go bad. Yeah. You know, you're almost completing a whole lap.
Yeah, well, I hate worse when they revert back to the last lap.
Oh,
that one, so maybe in the future GPS scoring is a way to do it, but right now we're just not there.
And another attempt at overtime. There'll be 2 laps to go. Remember, in April, Brandon Jones won this race in overtime. Can he do it again? Riley Herbst will be on his outside. Gibbs behind him. There's that bump. Green flag.
Go with this damn thing.
Again, he hits him.
Riley Herbst on the outside. We got to spin Josh Berry's around on the nose of the 7.
Here, stay it hard. Caution, caution, caution. Contested here.
Caution comes back out again. There'll be another restart. This time, the 54 was even more aggressive with Jones. Now, where will they be scored when the caution came out? Jones and Gibbs, you would not know that they are teammates the way they're racing here for the last 2 laps.
No, that time I thought the 19 got the exact restart he was looking for, yet the result was the same.
He got run into regardless.
Let's see how it happens down here.
Yeah, so we're going to see the 1 kind of gets, trying to see how everybody gets turned around off the 8. Oh, the 1 goes up the racetrack, kind of off the bumper of the 1 hits the 7, the 8 gets spun around, and this time the 54 was the leader at the loop line. Dale, I was going to take that replay for you because you had all 3 involved, so I was going to make you.
You weren't going to make me call out Sam there, pushing the 7 into the 8.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to say, well, one of your cars hit the other car, which finally got the 3rd car up the track.
And the 7 car, he was involved in that as well, and
Cost him some positions. He's up.
It did. And the 16 car, you keep talking about, the 16 got back in the lead lap. Dylan, what do you have on the 7 car?
Well, he has been pleading with his team and spotters to get the 1 car off of him on restarts, the last few restarts. I think Justin has been unhappy with how Sam has been aggressively pushing him on previous restarts. But now you see the damage on the right front. It's knocked the toe out of line on the 7. The steering wheel is not straight on the 7 car, Dave.
And the 16 crew sees their driver coming forward as well. They said on the radio, we've got a chance, we've got a chance, we've got a chance. They didn't say that to AJ, but AJ knows he's getting closer to having a shot.
So when you don't know where your position is, you run side by side with the one you're questioning. And that's what about all of the field is doing right now. They're trying to figure out where they line up.
And NASCAR's got to understand, too, a difficult situation with Allgaier. He is part of the accident in a sense, as he had to slow down as the 8 car's spinning out on the nose. And when he rejoins the field, it's quite a bit further back than where he's sitting right now, but he's up here arguing his position. I belong here. That's the way he feels. NASCAR will sort all this out, and they'll tell you all the reasons why they made these decisions after the race is over with.
Look at this damage.
He's got a lot of damage.
And again, if Brandon Jones...
You see the car in front of him, though? He's got damage. Everybody's got damage right now.
Look at the 11. I can't see.
All right, so I think we got the lineup correct as far as the single file lineup. Now it's about to choose. And we focus a lot about the choose for the race win with the 19, and that's still going to be a huge focus. But all the way through here, where does the 7 restart? Where does the 16 restart? Yeah. How does it affect the points? Now, none of that matters if Brandon Jones gets back by the 54. Now the 54 has to decide himself, man, I just hit the 9 really hard. Now he's going to restart, I'm assuming, right behind the 54. It's going to be very interesting to see how this works. If it's worked like the last 2 restarts, second was the place to be because he became the leader off turn 2. So let's see where the 54 chooses and if the 19 sticks with that plan of taking the bottom behind him.
The door is definitely open for putting the bumper to whoever is in front of you. We've seen that out of Gibbs. We've seen it out of Jones. Parker.
And if Brandon Jones is able to get this done, guys, I think one of the things that's been remarkable on his radio is how calm he has been. He's barely ever came on the radio in the last couple laps through all this contact with his teammate Ty Gibbs. The team has just calmly reminded him where he is on position on the racetrack, how he's gotten good restarts, what he could do a little bit better, but he has not said a word, has stayed completely calm on the radio and focused on the task at hand. If he's able to beat that 54, I'm going to go back to the composure that Brandon Jones is showing in this intense situation.
It is short track Saturday night racing at Martinsville. And of course, NASCAR America Post Race Show will be on Peacock coming up right after this race. We are in overtime. We're going to try it for the 3rd time. Once the race leader gets to the white flag, then the race will be official on the next flag. And right there we saw Gibbs choosing the inside line. Jones jumps right behind him. Noah Gregson up high.
Last time we had this scenario, Noah was in the fence off of 2. The 19's in the back of the 54, taking the lead.
Well, the one thing we know is that Brandon Jones has been given a permission slip.
Oh, yeah.
To do whatever is required, because the guy that's in front of you has been willing to do whatever is required. So it's game on right now.
Yeah, I think we've lost count of who's ahead, and so have they on the scorecard. So whatever's coming to you, you're just going to have to take it.
2 laps. Let's see if we can complete them. Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson making up row 1. Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed make up row 2.
Good restart by the 19. And that outside line as well.
Big push by the 19. And he gets to the inside again. 3 wide as they come out of 2. Now, 3 wide isn't going to work through 3 and 4. Sheldon Creed shoving the 19. He's sideways, but he lurches out front. The white flag one more time around. Jones gets tagged by the 54.
Whoa!
Ty Gibbs out front. Jones around. Caution comes out. Ty Gibbs sees the checkered yellow flags. And Ty Gibbs put the bumper to the back of the 19, and that's the damage that happened after.
That's a good teammate right there. All right.
Yes, they drive for the same organization, Joe Gibbs Racing. And the way they finished, it will be Allgaier that would advance to the championship 4.
It's one thing to get moved out of your way by your teammate. It's a whole other thing to get wrecked by him.
I was thinking the same thing, and I often feel on restarts it's kind of open game, but coming with 1 lap to go to get absolutely turned around, it's going to be hard to swallow for the driver of the 19. Let's take a look, guys.
Yeah, they get down into the braking zone, and he just right into the back of the 19. No chance for Brandon to make the corner.
I'm just not impressed. It doesn't take much of a race car driver to run another guy over from behind. It's one thing to hit him in the door or the quarter panel if it's contested, but this right here is squared up, bumper to bumper. Unimpressed. Hit him so hard it buckled the hood.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs punted the 19 of Brandon Jones, and now he's going to celebrate in front of the crowd here. And this crowd is very educated, and we'll see what they think about what Ty Gibbs just did when he gets out of the car.
Clearly by the turn burnout, Ty is perfectly okay with it.
Ty's okay with it. As the tires are coming completely apart on the 54 here. The crowd will show if they liked what they saw or didn't like it as soon as he climbs out of that car. Here's the championship 4. Allgaier gets in on points. You hear a little bit of applause for the 54 of Ty Gibbs, but it's Allgaier, Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, and Ty Gibbs. Those are the championship 4 that will fight next week for the title in the Xfinity Series, and now you hear the crowd responding. Marty.
The boos raining down from the fans at Martinsville. Ty Gibbs with a win, but a very controversial way to go about it. He actually waves on the boos to the fans here. You can hear the reaction. So Ty, the contact with the 19 looked very, let him get the checkered flag. Contact with the 19 looks very intentional. Was it a fair move by your assessment?
I definitely didn't want to wreck him, but I wanted to get him out of the groove. I felt like we lost earlier the spring race just in the same way, but I'm just pumped to get this win, and it's so awesome, especially a track I feel like I've been coming to forever. I ran late models here, and it's just been, it's super cool to win here.
Boy, Rick, you can hear the fans, the boos raining down on Ty Gibbs celebrating a win at Martinsville, but the fans do not like it.
The 20-year-old, now 6 wins on the season, but this one definitely not a fan favorite.
I mean, he just wrecked him. There's no other way to say it.
He said he wanted to get him out of the way, but when you buckle the hood, that's a little bit more than getting somebody out of the way. NASCAR America post-race show, extended coverage on Peacock. Make sure to join us there. We want to take another look at the championship 4. You see Brandon Jones very disappointed. Allgaier at 36 years old, the veteran. Josh Berry at 32, going for his first title. Gragson and Ty Gibbs, the youngest at 20 years old. Those 4 will fight it out next Saturday on USA for the championship title. It came down to 3 overtime attempts, and then Ty Gibbs, after Brandon Jones got in front of him, punted Brandon in turn 1. Ty Gibbs gets the win, and Brandon Jones the disappointment.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.